Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I want to share with you my approach to mixing acoustic guitar. We're going to be mixing some acoustic guitar today. We have a stereo pair here, but before we dive in, if you are ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the tool for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without any more of the hassle and without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and look at mixing acoustic guitar. So let me start by playing you the finished mix for this song here, and then I will solo up our acoustic guitar so you can hear what our finished acoustic guitar sounds like. Then we're going to go through each plugin and each move on the EQ here one by one. But here's our finished mix for this track.
I can't take anymore. Baby, I'm all the way yours. I'm holding it in. I'm holding it out for your words. Just give me the word.
You can hear it's a nice, full acoustic guitar sound, good bottom end, good top end to it. It sits really nicely in the mix. You can hear it even through all of the other instruments and tracks we have going, and there's a lot going on inside this mix. So let me turn these things off here, and we'll go through move by move here. So our last EQ, here's our compressor, and then our initial EQ here. So we've got a few moves on our first EQ that we're going to talk about here, and then we will jump into our compressor and our final EQ. So the first move we're making here, which is pretty much the first move I make on a lot of instruments, is a high pass filter. So I'm rolling off all of the extra low end, all of that sub area that we don't need coming from our acoustic guitar. We want to save that for our bass guitar and for our kick drum. I don't want the bottom end of our acoustic guitar or some kind of sub, some air blast going into the microphone competing with our bass guitar. So listen without and then with the high pass filter. You can hear it's especially important with this guitar recording because there's some hits on the guitar, right? So it has some percussiveness to it. When he hits the strings, we get a big low-end boost from the hole on the acoustic guitar that goes into the microphone. It sounds like an extra kick drum going on. We don't need any of that, so cleaning all that up with our high-pass filter. The next move we're making is a little cut here at about 182, rolling down some of this low mid area around 200, just tucking that back a little bit so we don't get so much of a boost up around 200 when we do have any contact with the guitar. So take a listen without and then with. You can hear it's just serving to smooth out those hits on the acoustic guitar so it sits more naturally inside the mix and along with the rest of the playing on the acoustic guitar. It doesn't feel like a big blast of low-end air coming off the acoustic guitar. Now, we're going to save the boosts here for a minute. We'll throw those in after our compressor. So the next thing we're going to throw in is the 1176 compressor here, the FET Comp from Studio One. I love this compressor, and I love using it on acoustic guitar especially. I feel like it gives it some extra energy, some extra special sauce, brings out some of the attack a little bit from the pick making contact with the strings. So take a listen without and then with the compressor. You can see we're only doing about 3 dB of compression here on the acoustic guitar. We're at 0.54 milliseconds on the attack. 50 milliseconds are the fastest release here. Just pushing our input till we're getting about 3 dB reduction. And that's all we need to even out our acoustic guitar, to give it some extra attack, and to give it some depth from the analog vibe so it doesn't feel so boring and so flat sounding inside the mix. Now we're going to go back here to our initial EQ and we're going to add in these 3 boosts. The first boost I'm adding here is just a little nudge up on the top end at about 8K. We're adding a dB. This is going to add some shine up on the top end and a little bit of brightness up at about 8K here. So take a listen. It's a small move, but it's the subtle change we need to add that brightness and that shine up on the top end of the acoustic guitar. So the strings have that brightness when he makes contact with them. The next move we're making is this about 2 dB boost at 3.5K. So sitting right in between 3 and 4K here. This is going to add some energy in the high mid area. Take a listen to this. This is the frequency here that's going to help our acoustic guitar cut through the mix. This 3K, this 4K area, that's what gives it the aggression that it needs to cut through the mix and be still a main force to be reckoned with, because it's the main rhythm element in all of the guitars here. It's our main rhythm guitar here. The next thing we're doing, this is just a little balance move here in the mid-range at about 800 hertz. We're doing a dB boost here. This kind of move here in the mid-range, whether it's like 900, 800, or like 1.5K, gives you that fullness in the acoustic guitar. So it sits with piano and electric guitars, so it feels full range. So take a listen to this little move here. It's a little bump that makes sure our guitar doesn't feel so scooped in the mid-range. It keeps it full range. And taking that a step further, we're doing a little bit more after our compressor here, around the same area, around that 800 hertz area, another dB boost there to give it even more fullness in the mid-range here, and to make sure it's not just bottom end and not just top end here. So take a listen without this, and then I'll kick it in. And you can see I'm rolling off a little bit more of the bottom end here. I have it up at 111, the high pass filter, just to control that bottom end and that sub area a touch more. Because again, we want mainly the bottom end to be coming from our bass guitar and from our kick drum. I want the acoustic guitar to be full range from about 100, maybe 80 hertz, all the way up from there. So it has that top end shine, but it also has that mid-range fullness. So take a listen here now. A full before and after on our acoustic guitar. So here's where we started.
Baby, I'm all the way yours. I'm holding it in. I'm holding it up for you. Just give me the word.
This is my approach to mixing acoustic guitar. A little bit of EQ to start with. You can see there's subtle broadband moves here, controlling our low end, bringing up some mid-range and some top end to make sure our guitar is full range. Only about 3 dB compression here with this FET comp to give it some depth while controlling our transients and emphasizing some attack, giving the acoustic guitar some aggression, and then a little bit more fullness here in the mid-range just to top it off. So it keeps our guitar present, keeps it aggressive, and keeps it full range. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you are ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in a workflow as a mix engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.